All right. It's 6 o'clock. Everybody's ready. I'm Bill Snowden of the Wakulla Sun. This is our forum. We have school candidates for school superintendent and for school board later. Just to explain the rules to the audience, we're going to start with 2 minutes for introduction from the candidates. They can talk about themselves and why they're running. And then we'll start with the questions. Candidates will have 2 minutes to reply, and we will alternate who goes first. So we'll start with Rick Meyer for your introduction.
Ready?
Yes.
Look into the camera. So this is being broadcast, live stream, correct? All right. So good evening, everybody. My name is Rick Meyer, candidate for superintendent. I think the most important thing that people want to know, why are you running, right? Why are you here, and what really drives you? And I think for me, the biggest thing that all of us probably have in common is just the kids, right? I mean, you shouldn't be running for superintendent if you have motives other than taking care of the children of Wakulla County. You know, the trust that our parents put on the teachers, on the principals, on the administrative staff to take care of their kids comes before everything else. As a former U.S. Army infantryman, the safety and security of our kids means absolutely everything to me. You know, learning's important, the outcomes, the student outcomes are important, but safety means everything. If the kids don't come home at the end of the day, we've absolutely failed. It is all about those kids. Now, what do we do with those kids while they're here? That's where the content comes into play. We have to be teaching them the right things. You can look across the country, you can see what other school districts are pushing, you can see what other states are pushing, and I will tell you the morality in this country is scary. We're on a scary trajectory, and I think that when I'm out there in the community, what I hear from parents, what I hear from community members is, how are you going to ensure that our kids are not being exposed to the wrong things? So I'll tell you that that's another huge priority to me, is making sure that our kids are exposed to the right content. And then how do you get there? You get there by taking care of your staff, right? I mean, we cannot get there without our teachers. As I said earlier, the trust that we put in our teachers is paramount, and we have to do everything we can to protect our teachers, to compensate them appropriately, to protect them when they're in their classrooms, and to ensure that they are prepared as possible to serve those kids. So that's what I'm here to do. I think that God has given me talents that enable me to give back to this community, and I just want to put those at work to make our kids' lives better. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Matt Payne, and I am running to be superintendent of Wakulla County Schools. I'm fairly young as compared to my opponents. You know, that has been a question that's been brought up, and people ask me, why do you want to run at such a young age? And the answer is simple for me, because we have seen teachers leave this district in massive numbers because they're not being compensated fairly compared to surrounding districts. Their health insurance is going up, which that in turn causes a teacher shortage. It causes overcrowding in classrooms. It causes, you know, disciplinary issues, and kids' education, that their learning is suffering. And that's where I have a problem. As a classroom teacher, when I cannot effectively teach my class because I have 24, 25, 26, 27 kids in my class, something has to be done about it. And we have teachers leaving, we have bus drivers leaving, custodians, secretaries, administrative assistants leaving because they are not being treated fairly. They're not being treated adequately. They're not being paid fairly. And that starts with a culture change. And that culture change has got to start at the top. We have gotten here over probably the last 15 or 20 years. And at my young age, I think it's going to take my career to get us back to where we need to be. So while I don't have the administrative experience that some people would like a superintendent to have, I do have a master's degree in public administration, which several other superintendents that I've talked to throughout the state also hold the same degree.
10 seconds.
So I think there needs to be a culture change. And we need to care about our teachers, our bus drivers, our kids, and everybody. Thank you.
And hi, I'm Ricky Strickland. I'm running for Superintendent of Wakulla County Schools. Currently, I'm the Educational Program Director for the state of Florida. I've been the state lead for autism for the past couple of years. Prior to that, I was an elementary school teacher at Medart Elementary School. I care deeply about our students in our community and making sure that our students are supported, our teachers are supported, and that comes through the proper administration of our resources in Wakulla County. Currently, I'm a doctoral candidate in the field of educational administration. I have experience at the state level running large programs with really big educational budgets. I have specific training in the allocations of educational resources, and I am willing to put my entire being into serving these students and serving our community. And that takes teaching, transparency, and trust. We gotta have teachers who are supported, that have a benefits package that ensures that they want to stay here and teach in Wakulla County. We need transparency. Transparency from our district to our community, ensuring that the community understands that they can support the schools and that the schools are there to support the community. And then that would build the trust. We need that trust within our community to ensure that our students are successful. Thank you.
And I wanted to also note that the role of the superintendent and the school board doesn't overlap. The school board, the superintendent is in charge of the administration of the schools and personnel. The school board sets policy and approves the budget. But there are areas that overlap, and you will hear some of those because they deal with the same issues. The first issue, and we'll start with Mr. Payne, the number one issue that, as far as questions that were submitted by readers, is health insurance. Healthcare premiums for district staff have dramatically increased in the past 5 years, causing many teachers to seek employment out of Wakulla County. What is your specific plan for reducing healthcare costs?
So my plan is simple. We're gonna cut unnecessary administrative waste. We're gonna start at the top. We're gonna start looking at positions that may or may not need to be there. We're gonna evaluate whether or not they need to be there, and if they don't, guess what? We're going to minimize our wasteful spending. We have got to start putting money back where it counts, okay? For me, that means we gotta look at administrators in that district office up there that has become very top heavy and very overstaffed in the last, 10, 15 years. I can tell you from when I was a kid going through school, there weren't that many administrators up there. So why are there now? It's a simple question. I can't answer it because I can't get an answer out of that district office. When, in terms of how would I address it, saving money where we can. Why are we spending money paying administrators that could be in a classroom? Why are we paying administrators that, that they are doing the duties that one person was doing 10 years ago is now split to 3 people? It's a simple answer. I'm still waiting for it. So that's my short answer, is cutting administrative waste and finding money where we can in the budget.
Mr. Strickland?
Yes, so educational finance and teacher benefits has been an issue in Wakulla County for a long time now, including with me. In my own personal experience, I could not afford to have full coverage insurance as a classroom teacher and be able to pay my bills. It pushed me out of the classroom, sadly. I was a devoted elementary educator and actually loved it. And we're going to continue to lose well-qualified teachers because of these benefits. So how do we solve that problem? Well, we've been working on that problem for a long time through collective action. Teachers and community members, including students and families, went to the legislative session last time here in Wakulla County and advocated for benefits through lobbying efforts. We need a superintendent that will stand with those community members and teachers in telling our lawmakers that we need additional funding for our teacher benefits. And when we get that, it doesn't just affect teachers, it affects all of our district employees because they're all on that same healthcare coverage through CHP. Another thing that I would like to do is make a commitment over the next 4 years to increase the contribution that the district makes to our insurance package by making it in alignment with the other community agencies. We should not be paying less than the sheriff's office for our benefits. Another thing that I would like to do is, of course, look at our entire budget. Our budget is a confusing Wakulla County Schools budget. In fact, not long ago, our school board members actually requested a special workshop so that they could better understand the budget for themselves. So we need a clear budget that all community members can look at it, understand what it says, and it shows a return on our investment. Our hard-earned tax dollars, we should know where that money is going.
Thank you. Mr. Martin.
So, as far as the specific plan, before I get into that, I think that all Americans need to recognize that the Obamacare has been a complete disaster, and our pathway to fix insurance is to vote Republican this fall. If you look at the cost of healthcare across the country for the past 12 years, it's been absolutely outrageous how fast that's risen. And it's rising faster than what we're being increased of our funding. So we have to do some creative things in order to take care of business that's not being taken care of for us. First of all, each and every year, we should be going out as a district and assuring to our community that there isn't a better rate out there. It's something that we do occasionally, but we don't do consistently. What we may find is that there isn't a carrier that's going to offer us a better premium package. But I think that our constituents want us to, well, they want to know that, right? They want to know, is Florida Blue a better plan? Is that a better plan? That's the first commitment that I have as superintendent, is to make sure that the package that we're selecting is the best price for our community. We may find that if you have to switch doctors, our staff don't want to switch. And that's not a decision that I would make autonomously. I think that's something you ask the staff. Do you want a cheaper price and have to switch doctors? Let's let our staff vote on that. But once we get the cheapest plan and a variety of plans that we can choose from, we do have to reduce spending in other areas. I think that a line item budget that enables us to redirect funds and to grow the percentage of our annual budget that we put towards insurance is something we have to do. The more people that are on our plan will impact the amount that each person gets. That's just a reality. But we should understand that as our budget increases, we need to also assure that each and every year the percentage of that budget is going towards insurance. We have to know that that's going to be something we have to account for. So where do you cut that? Again, this is where the work and the collaborative work with working with the school board, my expertise will come into play to help the school board make those important decisions. It's not something the superintendent does by themselves, but my leadership will enable us to make those tough decisions.
Okay. The next question is something of a follow-up to that. I'm not sure. A reader wants to know, will you commit to hiring new negotiators for the school board healthcare plan? Mr. Strickland, you're first.
So it's not necessarily the negotiators that is the problem. It is the district contribution to our insurance plan that is the problem. All of our other districts in our area all pay about the same amount for CHP insurance. And that's just not school districts, that's pretty much every agency in our area pays about the same amount. The issue is that Wakulla County Schools pays less of a contribution to the insurance and benefits package than those other agencies. We have to look at our budget. We have to make some cuts. We have to ensure that the money that we're spending and each and every single budget line item is accounted for so that we can then find where the wasteful spending is. And then we can also look at our return on investment and then make investment allocations towards those benefits packages. And until we can get in alignment with the other agencies within our area, we're gonna continue to lose teachers and lose bus drivers, lose our paraprofessionals. I've heard stories of paraprofessionals that are pretty much just working for their healthcare insurance, and that is unacceptable. We need to ensure that we are in alignment with all of the other local agencies in that district-based contribution to our insurance package. And then that would help to alleviate some of that problem. Teachers do not go into education, bus drivers do not go into education, and paraprofessionals do not go into education to become rich. But they do expect to have good health care where they can go to the doctor and afford it. And they do expect to have a good retirement. And we need to provide that. And I will ensure that that happens with every single ounce of breath I got. Thank you.
Mr. Meyer?
So I believe that the question was, will I commit to hiring a new negotiator? And so the process for me for that is to create an RFP with approval of the board, that what the board wants to see in a negotiator, and request proposals from different negotiators and evaluate those proposals to assist in recommending that to the board. I don't think that's something that the superintendent just goes and says, I like this person, I don't like this person, you're out, you're in. That's not the sort of leader that I am. I think the most appropriate way is to work collaboratively with the school board as to what they want to see in the negotiator, have those negotiators propose things, and then we'll pick the most appropriate and the best value that we can find for our folks.
Mr. Payne?
So I will not promise a single thing on this campaign trail. Any politician that does is writing a check that I'm not sure they can cash, and neither are they. 100% honest. I do believe that it is something we should consider every year, or every time their contract's up. That's something we should consider, because we have to do what's best for our teachers, our bus drivers, our custodians, our maintenance workers, everybody, including what's best for the kids. When we're not, we're paying an excessive rate in insurance, that's money being taken out of the classroom, trying to money that could be given to the kids. So would I consider it? Absolutely. But like Mr. Meyer said, it's not up to the superintendent as a whole. It's up to the board too. That's where you have to collectively work with the school board. Mr. Strickland brought up, I forgot it now. Oh, you brought up, collective bargaining and all that, and trying to put in more towards the premiums. We need to do that. We really do. We have to. Yep. Teachers are paying more than what the district's paying right now. The teachers, the bus drivers, custodians, everybody that's on health insurance is paying more than what the school district is paying. So, is it something I would absolutely do? I'm not going to give you an absolute. I'm not going to make you a promise that I don't know I can keep. I would never do that.
Okay. You can probably guess what the next issue of concern is. This was our second area of concern with submitted questions, is teacher raises. Since the minimum beginning teacher salary has been mandated by the state, equitable boosts in salary for veteran teachers has not been implemented. What's your plan for raising the salaries for veteran teachers in order to retain their expertise? And how will you ensure that new teachers don't end up making more than veteran teachers? Mr. Meyer.
Yep, so that's a great question. I think that it's something that people need to understand, that when the governor decided that it was the priority to boost beginning teacher pay and to make Florida a leader in that, there were constraints that were given with some of the money. And there were constraints that were out there that districts had to follow. And some districts got there faster than others. Wakulla County is about one of the 30 districts that doesn't have an additional millage for teacher salaries. The districts that do have that additional millage, they were able to reach the 47.5 threshold much earlier, and they were able to then utilize that additional money for their veteran teachers. Up to this point, Wakulla County has not made it to that 47.5 yet. I think that there's going to be some optimistic news coming forward, but we don't know exactly yet what the next budget is going to say. But as soon as we do reach that 47.5, it's going to open up the door for the district to utilize funds. And I think that question is great. I mean, experienced teachers, veteran teachers, they deserve to be making what they're worth. They deserve to be paid for their years of experience. It's just unfortunate that the Florida statutes were written in a way that have constrained all Florida school districts, not just Wakulla County, in this. But certainly, I recognize the value of experience. I recognize the value that our teachers have that have been in the classrooms. And there are certainly things that we can do moving forward once we reach that 47.5 to offer them a better, again, this is negotiations with the union, negotiations with the board. So superintendent shouldn't be saying, so to Mr. Payne's point, this is exactly what can happen. I'm just telling you the process. Until we get there, our hands are tied, but I think our hands are about to be untied very soon. So.
I'm sorry, Mr. Payne.
So, out of the three of us sitting up here, I'm the only one living on a teacher salary. We're making $45,500 was our baseline salary after the contract negotiation was done last year. The unfunded mandate that the governor sent down was $47,500. Everybody knows that. We're still $2,000 shy. He just signed a $1.25 billion allocation for the state of Florida to give the TSI, the teacher salary increase allocation, $1.25 billion. I would like to see 100% of the share go to the teachers to get everybody to 47.5. Once everybody gets to 47.5, then we need to start looking at our veteran teachers. We need to look at the ones that have been in the classroom for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. We need to implement another step in lane schedule again, instead of teachers being paid the same salary from year 0 to year 22. I'm not the same teacher I was when I started. Why am I making the baseline salary still? Why am I still making what a new teacher is coming in fresh out of college? Why is a 20-year teacher still making what I'm making? So the simple answer is we got to take that money that we're given by the state for the TSIA money, and we have to allocate it. We need to get all of our teachers, we need to get everybody's salary to 47.5, and then we need to start spending it. We are restricted by how the money is given to us. I forget the exact allocation, the exact calculation, but we are restricted that veteran teachers can only receive a percentage of what new teachers do. So, like Mr. Meyer said, there are stipulations to it. It's not just free money, here you go. There are some stipulations to it that we have to negotiate, and it's a complicated process. But I do think that, we can take that money, we get everybody to 47.5 rather quickly, not by cutting teaching positions like I've heard through the grapevine. Yeah, I've heard that one coming too. Okay, so we got to make sure we're spending our money wisely, and we got to get it to the new teachers, get everybody to 47.5, and then get our veteran teachers even higher, what they're worth.
Mr. Strickland.
So Mr. Payne made a great point. Collective negotiations for educational contracts is very confusing. The Florida statute does state that all teachers in a school district must reach $47,500 before they can start just making other contributions based on the percentages for our veteran teachers. Hopefully everything looks optimistic from what I've heard through the grapevine on our statewide allocations to Wakulla County schools, and maybe we will make it to that point this year. That being said, I have had experience in collective negotiations in educational contracts. I've been conducting those things for many years. It's going to take certainly work on the district's part to ensure that they are making those negotiations clearly and expressing the information to the union officials so that they can make determinations on how that money should be spent. Over the past few years, allocations for veteran teachers were given, but it had to be based on a percentage. I feel very confident in once we do make it to the 47.5 that more money can be spent on those veteran teachers to keep them here in Wakulla County. Unless we make those investments in those veteran teachers, we're going to continue to lose them. And those are the teachers that we need to count on to train our new teachers coming into this district. We have so many wonderful veteran teachers that have left Wakulla County over the past 10 years that you guys would be shocked. These teachers were amazing educators, and now they're at the Department of Education. Now they're in Leon County schools. They're in places where they were able to make more money and have better benefits. We need to make sure that we get those teachers who have been here for years more money so that they'll stay here in Wakulla County.
time. And that's perfect. That leads to the perfect segue to the next question. What initiatives will you introduce to attract and retain highly qualified teachers in Wakulla County? I believe it is Mr. Meyer.
I go first on that.
You went first. That's right, Mr. Payne.
So retaining teachers starts with their pay, their insurance, and making sure that they have an administration that's got their back. When they go to their principals or their assistant principals or whoever, and they've got an issue with a community member, then they need to know that their administration's got their back. And that's one thing, I want to start that culture at the top as a superintendent. I want to have the back of every teacher, custodian, bus driver, maintenance personnel. I don't care who you are, what you do in the school district. If you work in the school district, we ought to have your back, 100%. Because when somebody's got your back, you know that you're going to be taken care of, and you're more likely to have their back. So retaining personnel has obviously been a struggle. They don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad management. You see that across the state, and we're seeing that here. We're seeing it because of pay, because of insurance, because there is no transparency coming out of the district office, because when they ask questions, they're shut down, they're stonewalled. We've seen it time and time again. I hate the fact that teachers are leaving, going to Leon County, but you ask them why? Health insurance, their pay. How do you fix it? You gotta start paying them more. You have to increase your allocation or your contribution to their health insurance premiums. You've got to take care of the people that you want to take care of you. And that starts with a superintendent that cares about their job, that cares about the people that work for them, and cares about the community that they serve.
Teacher recruitment and retention is certainly key to being able to have a supported school district that can teach our students. It starts with, of course, retaining the teachers that we have. We will do that, of course, by ensuring that they have adequate pay and benefits, but it also is the support that they receive. As a Wakulla County teacher in the elementary school world, I was actually very supported. My leadership was there whenever I needed anything. All I had to do was contact my principal, and he was there and supported me every single step of the way. And I am very proud to say that. But that isn't the case for every single teacher that I've talked to in Wakulla County. We need to ensure that every single teacher that you ask that question to says that same exact thing. And it takes investments from our administrators into working with those educators to say, hey, I'm here for you, I'm here to support you. Now, to recruit teachers from the outside, well, that's easy. We have a lot of educators in Wakulla County that are not in classrooms because they went to other jobs, they went to other places. With a good benefits package and fair compensation, we will be bringing back a lot of those teachers to Wakulla County schools. I can think of a few right now off the top of my head. It also, we need to ensure that our administrative positions throughout the entire district are the most highly qualified individuals. When we have individuals who are qualified, experienced, but they are not able to get jobs in Wakulla County because they are not friends with certain people, or because they have not, they have done something that made someone else angry, that is unacceptable. We have to ensure that these highly qualified individuals within our community that want to serve our community as educators have that opportunity.
Mr. Meyer?
So there are some myths out there about teacher retention, teacher recruitment. So the most recent data that was released by the Department of Education does show that Wakulla is right there in line with the state average. So we're not the only ones that are facing a retention and recruitment problem, but we certainly want to be the best at it, right? So just because we're not the worst right now doesn't mean we don't have room to recruit, which we certainly do. One of the biggest things that I think that we should improve in our district is our image. We have a marketing problem. We have phenomenal teachers. Our teachers are out there every day just giving of themselves to our kids, and we don't do enough to highlight that. I think that if we do more to highlight the excellent things that are going on in our classrooms right now, we dispel the myths and we silence some of the loud voices that are just attacking us unnecessarily, you're going to see people want to join this team. It's something that unfortunately the senior leadership in our district so far, they haven't embraced this new world of social media. Everyone else around the country is doing it. I went to a different district to learn from the former assistant superintendent in Miami-Dade, and the Miami-Dade social media machine is amazing. And that's stuff that I can bring to this district to highlight the already exceptional and excellent things that are going on for our teachers. Teachers, listen, I know I've been in your classrooms across the county. You're doing great things. We need to celebrate you, and we need to let you showcase the great things that you're doing. When you bring in new teachers, you've got to mentor them. They need that structured level of support because teachers are most likely to leave the first couple of years if they don't have strong mentors. That's what we need to do to keep them in the classroom. So again, a lot of the other things have already been said. As far as how you retain, you certainly have to have a culture and climate that makes people want to be here, but it does start with your overall image. And it's not just glossing over things and making them be false, it's telling the truth. This is an exceptionally great place to be a teacher, and it's an exceptionally great place to raise your family.
Mr. Strickland, you
Yes.
first this time. Do you support expanding technical and career programs, and what programs would you add?
Oh, that is a wonderful question. And yes, of course, we need to provide opportunities for our students, technical and career training and programs for our students. That leads to job opportunities, college readiness. Those programs are certainly what Wakulla County Schools needs. We already have programs and investment in these programs that are currently going, and we need to continue those investments. The Triumph Grant has trained hundreds and hundreds of our students in career and technical education and also given them certifications. We need to continue that effort, and it also takes teacher training in those different programs, giving those teachers the ability and opportunities to teach those technical and career opportunities to their students. We need to definitely integrate that into all of our middle and high school programming. When I went to middle school here in Wakulla County at Wakulla Middle School, we had a technology class, and I learned so much from that technology class, and now I'm very proficient in technology, and it has helped me throughout my entire career to be successful. I was a land surveyor for 15 years prior to going into the field of education, and Wakulla County Schools technical programs prepared me for those challenges. And I 100% believe in just continued investments into those programs, and then, of course, utilizing grants such as the Triumph Grants. Thank you.
So I think we need more road construction workers. Is that an appropriate thing to want to add to our schools so we can get some of these roads finished faster? But in all honesty, the state has a process that every district goes through every 2 years called the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment. And we just finished going through that. And during that process, what you do is you look at the labor market demands, jokingly aside about the road construction, but you look at the number of jobs that are available in the region, you look at the programs that you're offering, and what's expected of us to utilize the Perkins Grant is that we align the programs we offer to what's needed in the area. Again, that's not something that the superintendent does autonomously. You don't go in there and just say, I think we need more road construction workers. You're supposed to work collaboratively with the experts in your region, with CareerSource, with the people in the fields, and they make recommendations to our high school staff as to what programs that we should sunset. Sometimes you find that you've had a program that everybody loves, but there are no jobs for those folks. And we should be adding programs where our students can get jobs in this region. It's all well and good that there are high-paying jobs in San Francisco, but we need to prepare our students for the jobs that exist here. And that's what we really honestly do. Kudos to the staff at Wakulla High School. They do a phenomenal job. For being the only high school in this county, the number of programs that we have, it's amazing. I think that if you go to other counties of our same size, you will not find the number of programs and the number of opportunities. And that's a level of commitment that this leadership, that the school staff have made towards our kids, and it's just an exciting thing to watch. So we're going to have a soft launch at the beginning of the school, and there'll be a more broader open house for everyone to see that new building coming up in a couple months. It's phenomenal. It really is. But again, it's not the superintendent's job to just pick and choose programs. the superintendent assures the process is led correctly to work with our stakeholders to align our programs to the market demands.
Mr. Payne?
So I want to echo Mr. Meyer for a second and say that that building back there is immaculate. The Triumph Gulf Coast grant that we got is a little over $20 million, for which the school district matched $18.9 million, if my numbers are correct, and my memory serves me correctly. Maybe a little fuzzy, it's been a long day. But the CTE programs are absolutely wonderful. I've seen kids come to school that wouldn't otherwise be there because of the late welding instructor, Mr. Roscoe Grant, or our HVAC program, or our digital design program, or now the diesel mechanics, and all these different CTE programs that we're getting out of the high school. It's awesome because kids that otherwise wouldn't be there are there. I was fortunate enough to grow up with a dad who was in the blue collar world, if you will. I grew up doing that. I know what it means to be in that world. I also know that kids are in record numbers now, I would say by my own eyes, they're not going to college. They don't want to go to college. They realize that that's not for them. Sitting in a classroom isn't for them. Give them something they can do. So welding, carpentry, HVAC, diesel mechanics, marine mechanics, anything we can get them. Two things that I really think we need to look into, maybe it's a labor market thing, is plumbing and masonry. You know, we've got construction workers around here. We got houses going up left and right. We are growing. This ain't the quaint little town it was when I was a boy. You know, it's growing. So maybe we need to start looking at those jobs. There are jobs out there, and I agree. We need to start pumping out, kids that if they know they don't want to go to college, cool. Let's get them ready to go be contributing members of the workforce. If they don't want to do that, let's get them ready to go in the military. Let's give them the tools they need. And if it's CTE, cool, let's do it. I love it. I love the programs because it gives kids a pathway to success. It doesn't dictate success for them.
Okay. Okay. There's been a cultural shift in the past couple of years where schools, school boards have gotten a lot of attention, and parental control has become a catchphrase. How will you ensure that parents and community members have a voice in decision-making processes that affect the education system?
So we're here for the kids, right? But the community was here for the kids before they gave them to us, right? The parents were the ones that are handing and entrusting their kids over to us. So they absolutely have to have a voice in this. They have to. I love it when we have community members that aren't parents that want to be involved in things, but if I'm being honest, whose opinion matters the most? The parents' opinion matters the most. That's just the fact of the matter. I don't want someone else telling me that they have a better idea of what's going to go on for my two sons that are in our school district. I just don't. It insults me, and I can see why other parents are insulted by that. But it does take the entire village. It absolutely does. What we're here to do as a public school district is to assure that our values and our morals align to that of this community. And there's a lot of opportunity that we have with the Parental Bill of Rights that this state has passed. There's been some landmark Supreme Court cases that have passed thanks to the presidential appointments of some correct Supreme Court justices. And I'd like to bring God back into our schools more. And that's not me pushing it on somebody else. That's enabling parents to say, that's what I want for my kid. And if a parent wants that for their kid, then that parent should get that for their kid. And if a parent doesn't want that for their kid, we'll make sure that that's not there for your kid. We're not going to push that on anybody else's kid. But there's definitely an opportunity for us to create magnet programs, to create pathways where parents can assure that the values and the morals that they have in their households and their churches are replicated in our schools. That is the pathway to fixing public education in this country, is to involve the parents, to involve the communities, and to not have bureaucrats in Tallahassee or Washington push their agenda on our schools. I think our teachers are ready for that. The teachers want to see that. The teachers want to return to morality, and they'll be happy to incorporate a lot of these opportunities for our parents to ask that of us.
Mr. Payne?
So when I worked in the legislature as a legislative aide, I worked for a state senator that was a champion of education. And when I disagreed with that senator, I would, respectfully go into his office, especially when it came to education. And I mean, mind you, he was an educator himself. So we would have an open and honest discussion, and that's what it comes to, is we as the community need to be able to talk about our issues. We need to be able to have those discussions. And whether it is physically or proverbially, I will take the office door off its hinges. That way I can never slam the door in your face. That way I can never shut you out. Because when we come together, if somebody has an issue with me, I tell them to come to me. If somebody has an issue with the way I want to run the school district, if I'm the superintendent, come to me. Pick up the phone and call me, email me, tell me. Don't just tell me, hey, you have a problem, tell me why, and tell me how I can fix it. You can whine about a problem, or you can try to change it. Be ready to come with a solution if you're gonna tell me why you don't like it though. That's why I'm running for superintendent. I don't like the way things are being done, so that's why I'm doing it. I'm getting off my butt and I'm trying to change it. The parents have to be the leading voice in their child's education. I hear kids all the time at the high school saying, oh, well, I don't like this and I don't like that. Well, why? Well, my parents don't like it. Okay, you need to have an open and honest discussion with your parents. Why do they not like it? How do you truly feel about it? We have to get back to the roots of coming together as a collective community and working together. We can't just sit here and say, this is what we're gonna do and expect it to be done. And you're absolutely right. We can't be governed by bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. and in Tallahassee. But unfortunately, state statute really ties our hands in some things. So that's where we have to take the fight to them. And I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to go back to the Capitol and fight with them too.
Mr. Strickland?
We're all lucky to be here in Florida where parents have rights. And we have an abundance of those rights, and we have an abundance of say in the education of our children. Educational options, and then also a say in the curriculum that is provided to our students is a part of our Parents' Bill of Rights. We need to ensure that parents understand that and have opportunities to view the curriculum that they're seeing or that their parent or the children are learning. We need to have workshops. We need to provide opportunities for collaboration with parents and community members. I would like to see quarterly workshops with school board members and with district office personnel, with principals and teachers and parents, so that we can talk about the issues. Things such as bullying, things such as the dress code, things such as provided opportunities that the district has for students. These are the questions that parents have been asking me for a long time. And honestly, they should have a say in those things. Parents need to have a say in the policies that we pass in Wakulla County schools. And that comes from community input. And it starts with us having those opportunities to meet with those community members. So I am certainly committed to quarterly meetings with the community where it is an actual open discussion rather than our school board meetings where, based on the rules of the school board meetings, you can voice your concerns for a few minutes, and then oftentimes you get a phone call back. We need the opportunity to have lengthy conversations about the issues, and then find solutions to those issues with our community leaders and parents. And I am certainly committed to quarterly meetings with our community.
I've gone a tad over time, but if we can get to this last question before close. What is your, we'll start with Mr. Payne. What is your long-term vision for Wakulla County School District, and how do you plan to achieve it?
So obviously I'm the youngest candidate, if you can't tell by looking, so I'm hoping that I have a very interesting life here. I'm not calling you old or anything, it just, I got called a baby face the other day. So I hope to have a long and lengthy life. I was born and raised here, and I hope to spend my entire life here. I really do. My wife and I are expecting a little baby girl. I want to raise her here, and I want to make this school system something that I am proud to send my child to. I know when I walk through those hallowed halls of Crawfordville and Shadeville and Wakulla Middle School and Wakulla High School, they were among the best in the state, and I want to return them to that status. Not the 100% graduation rate, because we put kids in credit recovery and we give them 17,000 opportunities to pass. Put them in a classroom and teach them. don't just kick the can down the road and make it somebody else's problem. I want to actually churn out good, contributing members of society when they walk across the stage and receive that diploma. I don't want to just kick the can down the road, give the kids a certificate of completion, and say, here, you're out in the world on your own. I want to achieve greatness in its own right, not inflated, 100% graduation rate because kids are, being coddled and walked across the stage.
Mr. Strickland.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm still a fairly young guy, Mr. Payne. And I'm sure Mr. Meyer feels the same way. But that being said, all jokes aside, my vision for Wakulla County Schools is, of course, teaching, transparency, and trust. We need to have qualified teachers that are supported by our administrators that are in those classrooms ensuring that the standards are being taught and that those students are learning. Over time, we will see learning gains when we have qualified teachers ensuring that those standards are taught. Transparency is needed. We have to be transparent with the community. We have a wonderful community here in Wakulla County that supports our schools. When you have a football game, we show up. Whenever we go travel to football games and you show up there, we will oftentimes outnumber the home team crowd, and that's because our community loves our students in our schools. We need to use that strength, and then we need to build off that through transparency. And that means putting forth a budget within Wakulla County Schools that every single citizen can read and understand. We need a return on investment report for that budget so that every single community member knows what their hard-earned tax dollars are being spent on. And then that's going to, in turn, build trust back in our schools. Our community is going to know that we are educating our students through teaching and that we are being transparent in how we are doing it. And then that is what a good school district looks like. And I am certainly willing to put forth the effort in doing that for our community. Thank you.
So I think if you've been paying attention to educational politics and the shift in things, school choice is the way of the future. And so if you ask me what's my vision, what's my transformational, what's my future vision of this district, it goes back to the question about parental choice. Moving forward, parents are going to have more and more opportunities to take their child where they feel their child is best served. And so what we should be doing is recognizing that and creating more and more opportunities to market ourselves and to create pathways where the parents feel that the school and the classroom that they're in is exactly what their child's needs. We're not back in the 1960s where one size fits all. That's just not the way that this country is going to be, that this state's going to be, and this community is going to be. So what does the future look like? The future looks like a classroom where each teacher is able to showcase themselves and the great things that they do, and parents have an opportunity to place their student where they feel like their needs are best met by the teachers. You were going to see more charter schools pop up. We're going to see more private schools pop up. That doesn't bother me. The competition there, it's great. It just makes me better. It makes all of us better. That's the beauty of capitalism. That's the beauty of our country, is people being able to be innovators and to bring the right things. So as I said earlier, for me, would love to see an increase in faith-based education within this community. I think that other people would want other things. Great, let's see that also. That's how we please people. That's how you assure that people are happy where they are, is by giving them options, not by telling them that this is the way that you have to do it. So my vision of the future is more opportunities and more choices.
Now we'll bring it in for landing with the close. You have 2 minutes. Mr. Payne? Strickland.
Oh, closing remarks?
Yes.
Well, I'd like to first thank everyone for being here in attendance, and then, of course, all of our citizens watching online. Thank you for joining us and watching this information. I would like to say that I certainly would hope, like your vote in the upcoming election. I am a proud educator, and I believe that teaching transparency and trust is needed within our school district, and I will work throughout every effort to ensure that those 3 things are implemented within our school district. Thank you very much.
So this is not the fifth grade class president election, right? Those of you that remember those, everybody promises longer recess and better lunches. Right? That's not what this is about. Florida and Alabama are the only two states in the country that elect their superintendents. And in Florida, only about half of the districts elect their superintendents. So you guys, everybody that I'm looking at and everybody that can hear my voice, you guys get to be the board here. You get to be the ones who choose. So you need to understand what you're picking between three great choices, but for you as a voter, what makes the difference? Your choice is the future of our children. And I will tell you that I have the experience. I'm at the peak of my career. I've put in the hours, I put in the time to get to a position where I know how to fly this plane. It is not a risk. I know exactly what needs to be done. I'm willing to work with the community and the board. It's not just me. It's not just my decision. I have the skills that are necessary to help this board get this district where they need to be. And you guys get to be the ones that decide whether you agree with me or not. But it's a very important role. I ask you guys to look at it and take it into deep consideration because it is kind of special that in Wakulla County, the community still gets to select their superintendent. Thank you.
So I want to echo both Mr. Strickland and Mr. Meyer's point of thank y'all for being here. This is a huge thing. Being able to elect a superintendent is your voice in democracy. It's your voice in how our school system is handled. And I think when you look at the school system and the direction that you want it to go, I don't think you need to look at the next 4 years or the next 8 years. I think you need to look at the next 20 or the next 30. You need to look at the one who just started their life and yeah, look at what I've done in the short time since I've graduated from college and I've become a teacher. Look at that and look at the potential I can achieve. And I want to take this school district from where it is now and I want to restore it and take it back to the top where it was when I was in school and where some of you were in school, if you were lucky enough to go here. It starts with a culture change. It really is. It starts with a leader at the top who cares about the people who work for them and work with them and work alongside them. And I can honestly tell you that every student that has ever walked in my classroom knows that I care about them. They know that I will take care of them, but I expect them to care about me. I expect them to take care of me because that's what we as a community do. And we've got to get back to that. The superintendent's got to care about the assistant superintendents and the principals and the assistant principals and the teachers and the custodians and the bus drivers and the parapros. And they've got to care about everybody, but they've also got to care about the community that they serve. They can't give up on you. So I want to echo this one last thing that we do have a school that's often overlooked. It's Coast Charter School. Okay, instead of treating Coast like a redheaded stepchild like it has been for the last 10 years, we need to start looking at it for what it can be. We need to actually start using Coast for what it could be. Yeah, they're independent from the school district, but we can work with them and do even better things for our kids. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you all three for being here tonight and answering these questions. We're going to take a short break and reset for the school board candidates. and we will start with opening statements and introductions. Josh Brown.
I'm Josh Brown. I'm your current school board District 4 member, and I'm running for re-election. I was born and raised in this county, went to school in our wonderful school district. My wife is a school teacher. Both of my kids go to school in the district. I am a businessman. I'm not a former educator. I do own a business, run a business here locally. That's what my background is. But I'm a parent. That's the biggest reason is I'm a parent. So I have business background, have a parent's mindset, and I think that we have, with COVID and the mandate for pay raises for starting teachers and insurance. I know everybody's insurance here is doubled, quadrupled. Your homeowner's insurance, your car insurance, same with health insurance. We were dealt a pretty tough hand, and we're finally making strides to be able to get out of that and overcome it. I'm asking for 4 more years because I think we're headed in the right direction, and I want to see it through.
Hey everyone, I just want to say thanks for coming out and watching us. I'm Camden Smith. I am also running for District 4 School Board. I have 2 children in this school system. I started as a substitute teacher, and then I was a paraprofessional. I was a classroom teacher and then an associate dean in the school district. So I've been in the trenches. I've seen what goes on. I'm a parent, so I've seen that aspect also. I truly want to help. I'm worried about my kids in the school system. I've seen countless teachers leaving, good teachers leaving, and we have amazing teachers still in the school system. So I'm running, I've got an education background. I have a work in the school system, so I'm really trying to help. So I just want to help get some of our teachers back and retain the teachers that we have, and then help see all of our children have a great education.
Hi everyone, my name is Angie Nichols. I'm running for School Board District 2. I have 4 children who attended Wakulla County Schools from kindergarten all the way through high school. Bryson, Colton, Cameron, and Britton. My son-in-law Dylan, and I have 2 amazing grandchildren who were part of the reason that I decided to take this leap of faith. I taught for 22 years, most of which was in Wakulla County. I began my career in Leon County and was one of the ones who flocked to Wakulla County because it was so amazing. All of my college friends were envious because I got hired in Wakulla County. So it was definitely a place that I loved having my children be part of. Unfortunately, I had to leave for the reasons that we're all talking about tonight, the extreme insurance rates, the lack of salary increases. It broke my heart because education is so dear to me. So I left in 2021 after watching my paycheck just kind of diminish every year and wondering if I was going crazy or not doing my math right. But it typically was because my insurance had gotten too exorbitant and I had to carry it for our family. So I made that difficult decision to leave. But about a year ago, I felt very led to get back to my roots of education and started attending school board meetings and seeing some of my friends, acquaintances leaving for the same reason. So I really want to give back to our school system. I want it to be the type of school that I love for my children. I want my grandchildren to be able to be part of it. I want it to make sure it's the safest place for our kids to go. I want it to be well-rounded, that our kids, we're not just teaching the basics, we teach the whole child, and that's why I want to run. So thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is June Davis, and I'm running also, in case you can't figure it out, just joking. I'm running for School Board District 2. I've been in Wakulla County since 2009, long time ago, originally in Kentucky. When I got here and we found our house, I realized I love this place, and over the years, anytime I can, I volunteer, I support, I help, I do whatever I can. And my kid, my baby, is about to start 11th grade, and he has had a successful time this whole time here. And I want to step up from being a volunteer parent to being, helping out the school board, helping out the district, keeping things that are strong, areas that need some help, I want to help, do whatever we can to make changes, increase the, revise the budget, whatever we can, so that we can keep this place a great place for our kids and our kids' kids and our sisters and brothers' kids, all of that. I want Wakulla School District to remain strong, and I want to do my best to work hard, learn, communicate, do what I can to help this county stay wonderful.
Great. Okay, the first question, again, it's the big question facing the district, probably all districts. Health insurance, this will be Ms. Smith. Healthcare premiums for district staff have dramatically increased in the past 5 years, causing many teachers to seek employment outside of Wakulla County. What's your plan for reducing healthcare costs?
So as a teacher and an associate dean in the county, I thought health insurance was so high because of the agreement that we had with CHP. After I did some digging, and then now that I'm at Florida Virtual School, I've seen and I've looked at other counties and talked to teachers, and I've seen that it's the contribution and it's not necessarily the agreement. So like, for example, at Florida Virtual School, it's 20/80. So teachers, they are paying 20%, and then Florida Virtual School is contributing 80%. In Wakulla County, from what I've been able to find, it's 40/60. So teachers are paying 60%, and then the county's paying 40. So it's really lopsided, and that's why it's so high. So a family plan could be $500, but for our teachers, it's $1,400, and that is almost not doable for our paraprofessionals. I mean, so I've heard of paychecks being in the negatives. So it's just, we need to make some changes. We need to look at the budget. We're getting one of the highest budgets in education that we've ever gotten. We need people on here that are going to advocate for our employees and look at the budget and say, that doesn't make sense. So that's what I hope to be able to do.
Well, like I already said, this is one of my biggest goals is insurance, not just for teachers, because everyone contributes to that. And like Camden said, parapros, bus drivers, they're not bringing home anything. It is unreal looking at your paycheck when $1,400 comes out of it. I was bringing home $2,100 a month as a teacher. My child at 20 with no college education was making more than I was. So that was one of the reasons I finally had to leave. We can't keep losing teachers. Teachers of the year, district teachers of the year, leaving to go to our neighboring counties who are contributing more, and that is the gist of it. We have to contribute more, and that means making some tough decisions, looking at our budget and finding out where we can make revisions, allocate different resources if it's not necessary to reduce those costs. If it's not serving our children, then we need to look at it, revisit. Unfortunately, when I try to look at our budget online on the website, it's not very easy, so I can't tell you exactly how I can do that, because that's one of my areas to be more transparent, and our budget is not transparent at all. When I go to Leon County's website, it is very clear. I know what they spend their money on. I know how much the playground costs at that particular school. When I look at our budget, I need to be an accountant or have a reference book. So my plan is to work with our new superintendent, the board, if I'm elected, and figure out where we can make some cuts to contribute more, because that's what we have to do in order to retain all of our staff.
This popular question, huh? And I'm just trying to make everyone smile a little bit. A little bit of background, I have an instructional design, that's been my career. That's what I did in college. So can I answer all the questions about the budget and what the plans are? No, but what I can promise is that I will connect with the new superintendent. I will connect with all my fellow superintendents. I will talk to everybody, meet with everybody. I will learn what the rules are, what the budgets are, what we can do, what we can't do. And I will strive to help make sure that our teachers are supported, that our staff members are supported, that our children are supported too. Everybody needs help in the district. The teachers, the staff members, the students. And so I want to step in, I will step in and learn everything I can, research everything I can, try to improve all the areas where we need improvement, and support those areas where we're already doing a great job. Do we need more money for our teachers? Do we need to increase their insurance? Absolutely. Do we have billions of dollars to do it? No, but we're going to do the best we can with what we've got. And so what I'm trying to say is I don't have the answer to everything yet, but I am committed to stepping in to learn to do the best that I can. And I got my 10-second alarm.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same problem that we've had. I can tell you that the solution is steps. There is not one single solution. If there was, we would have done that a long time ago. We have a limited amount of money, right? We have a $60 million budget, $57 million of it is given to us from the state. We generate $3 million from our local tax base here. We're mandated at the same time by the governor to give minimum pay to $47.5 before we can pay veteran teachers any more money. So our main goal over the last 4 years is to try to put more money into teachers' pockets. It has been difficult to put more money towards insurance because we have been given the mandate to get to $47.5. We will get to $47.5 this year. So that has taken us 4 years. Once we get there, our hands will be untied. We will be able to pay veteran teachers more. My wife is a veteran teacher. I'd love to pay all the veteran teachers more. They deserve more. But we are mandated to do this. Once we're able to do that, we can find a way to get more money into not just our teachers' pocket. You got bus drivers, you have maintenance, you have everyone that we have to take care of. Everybody needs a share of that. Everybody can't have it at once. And it is going to take time. But over the last 4 years, we have increased starting teacher pay 21%. We're $2,000 short. We're gonna make it this year. And again, I wanna continue that trend. I understand the budget. I can see the budget. The main thing that you have to understand is we have a limited amount of money and you can't get anywhere in one step, right? It takes multiple steps. And there is a plan and we're following that plan to get where we're gonna go. And I appreciate everybody that's been patient while we've gotten there, but we are getting there.
Okay. The next question begins with Ms. Nichols. Teacher raises, how? Florida ranked 50th in the nation for education spending, and Wakulla is 55th in the state's 67 districts. The $1.2 billion for teacher raises is really an additional $200 million for teachers statewide. How do you raise teacher pay?
Well, this goes hand in hand with our insurance. We're giving an allotment from the state. Again, we have the mandate that the new teachers have to make a certain amount of money, $47.5, before our veteran teachers can make any more. And with this new money coming down and allocations across the district working together, then that's what needs to happen. We have to get our new teachers up to the $47.5 by state mandate, and then we need to focus on getting our veteran teachers the pay that they deserve so that they're not flocking to other districts. And that's exactly what's happening. They are leaving in mass exodus. I was one of them. I went to a neighboring district and had a $10,000 pay raise. And a decrease in insurance. Once we get our veteran teachers the pay that they deserve, then hopefully some of those that left will come back to our district and we can work on the retention that we need to. But it's going to take getting our new teachers to the pay that they are required to have by state law. And then we need to work on our veteran teachers and then allocate the amount to our staff across, because all of our staff needs to have a livable wage. But it's going to take working together, collaborating, coming up with plans, meeting more workshops, more budgeting workshops, just putting our heads together and figuring out what we can do, what is not necessary, what can we cut. Because, I mean, it's definitely not gonna be easy, but it's what we have to do to get where we need to be, the district that everybody wants to come to.
And as she said, yep, it's aligned with the insurance, the same thoughts, the same plans. We have to meet together, we have to talk, we have to look at our budget, we have to look at all the places where we are spending money, make sure we're supporting all the areas, and do our best, yes, to get our teachers, all of our teachers, up to the salary level we can, get all of our teachers and staff members up to the salaries and the benefits. So as board members, we have to meet, we have to talk, we have to get with the superintendent, we have to plan for all of this and look at what we've got and look at what we can move around. Think about it kind of like you do with your own budget. You're getting so much money. What are you spending it on? What can you remove from your budget so you can put more money over here and take it from over there? We have to plan all of that. And again, I get back to, we have to collaborate, we have to talk, we have to plan to do the best we can with the funds that we've got. And I'm pleased to hear that over the years it has been increasing, and it sounds like coming up, things are going to increase even a little bit more for our teachers. So I hope to be there to help continuing that step up as we move forward.
Yeah, it has been a struggle. We are in the worst paying state. We're 55th in the state that is the worst in the country. So it is very difficult. Like I mentioned, 57 of the $60 million we get is given to us from the government. We don't dictate that. We don't direct that. There's nothing we can do about that. We can increase the $3 million. It's fairly simple. You either make more money or you spend less, right? We're doing our best to find ways to spend less. We have facilities that we are addressing and looking at now. We have personnel across the board. Some of it's at the top, some of it's at the bottom, some of it's in the middle. If you have personnel that you don't need, effectively run your business, right? That's what we're gonna try to do. But as far as how do we get more money for teachers? We keep saying the 1.25 billion number because it sounds great, and you think, well, how come we can't get teachers that pay? Because we're getting 1.25 billion. That's at like $385,000 for our district. That's a little over $1,000 a teacher. So as long as we continue to get that money every year, I can give it to teachers and teacher pay. If the state doesn't fund us next year, guess who owes that money? We do, right? So it is difficult, but it's not 1.25 million. It's not 250 million. It's $385,000. That's how much Wakulla County is going to get for its teachers. And I can guarantee you that money is going to go to teachers, 100% of it. And then the rest of the money that we've been able to save is going to go to teachers, going to go to employees, right? We're going to do the best that we can to get there. But it is not these numbers that you're hearing. Those are the real numbers.
Okay, so I think it just goes back to priorities. We're getting a budget for teacher salary increases, so we need to use that money wisely. Our pay scale right now, the whole thing needs to be revamped, in my opinion. 0 to 23 years at $45,500, that's ridiculous. Teachers are working 30 years to top out at $50,000. And then we wonder why teachers are quitting them, not to mention insurance on top of that. It's just our priorities need to be revamped, look at where we can pull the funds, work together, get people on here that are gonna try to work, look at what needs to be done, and then make it happen. If it's 47.5 where they need to be, then we need to get it to 47.5 and revamp the whole thing to make it fair. Because if we don't, teachers are gonna keep on quitting. They're gonna keep leaving us and go to other districts that have figured it out. So.
Okay, the next question, we'll begin with Ms. Davis. Would you support a referendum for a local millage increase in 2026 to generate money for teacher pay? There are currently 26 districts in Florida with a mill or a half mill levy. A local levy for 1 mill for teacher salaries would raise an estimated $800,000 to $900,000.
I absolutely would support whatever we can get, yes, to support our teachers. Now, question, what does our county leaders say? Is that something that can be done? Is that within the budget? Is there money there? Can it be done? Absolutely, I'll support it if it can be done. It's just another one of those topics where I want to connect with the right people, understand what can and can't be done, and support what can be done, yes, to help us.
We are the ones that set the millage rate. So the millage is a tax. So the question is, are you willing to tax people to get the money to pay for the teachers? And the answer to that is only if I have to. And I'm not satisfied yet that we've done everything that we can to get every last dollar that we can to allocate the money better. But when we get to that point, if we get to that point and we're not at 47.5 again, then I absolutely support that. It is the taxpayer's responsibility to fund that. But they should not have to fund that without knowing for sure that their leaders have done everything possible to make sure there's no other way. And when there is no other way, it is your responsibility as a citizen. And I don't think there's any more worthy cause than the teachers and the students that we have. So I would 100% support that, but only until I've satisfied myself that we've done everything we can.
I've actually looked at millage rates in comparison to what we have, just because I'm curious, and we are comparable in our surrounding counties with our millage rates. I would not want to raise millage rates. Now, if all of our spending was transparent and I knew that it was going for the good of the kids, I think that the public would be okay with it. half-cent tax, like we would be like, yes, do it if it's going for what we know would be for the better of the kids. So that would be my thought on it. And I wouldn't want to raise anything on people. I'm a taxpayer. If we didn't absolutely have to, and if I didn't know that it was absolutely going to do what was best for the students.
I will definitely say no. I do not support an increase in the millage, increase in taxes, because I know that when I go to the grocery store, I have to take a calculator because everything has gotten so exorbitant. Prices are outrageous. Our community can't afford more taxes. Yes, we do need to raise our teacher pay, our salary, more insurance, but I truly believe that if we dig deep into our budget and find out every line item, maybe bring in someone to, an outside team to just really delve into it, then I think that we can find the money where it's needed. But I do not believe that we need to tax our citizens any more than they're already enduring.
I'll ask, Mr. Brown, you start with this one. What are the top 3 priorities you would address if elected to the school board?
I think it's safe to say 47.5 seems to be the big target number for everybody. And rightly so, 47.5 is the biggest target. It allows us to do all of these things that everybody says they want to do. I believe everybody's heart's in the right place that's up here, so I think everybody here is committed to doing that. 47.5 is the biggest priority. I've made it a priority of mine personally. This goes beyond the schools to try to improve the respect level for teachers within the administration, within the school board, and within the community. Like I've said numerous times, I mean, The level of respect that we gave teachers 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, you couldn't even have a town if you didn't have a teacher. They're not getting the respect that they're due from all fronts, and I'd like that to change. Once we get to 47.5, and if there was money to do this, I would very much like to have a public relations position for our board. We are certainly not gonna spend the money on that now until we get to a point we can. But it would go a long way towards making sure that the public had the information that they wanted. Simply that position's there, it can be filled, but it's not gonna be filled before we get the teachers where they need to be.
So obviously insurance would be my number one target, and then pay, of course. I would like more contribution from the district for insurance, and then I would like a full reset on the pay scale. Another thing I'd like to see is transparency, like has been mentioned a lot of times, just the budget is really hard to comprehend. It needs to be comprehensible, not only for the school board, but for all the public. We should be able to pull it up and look at it and understand it. And then community engagement, I really wanna see us embrace that and just wanna hear and be a voice for the public, because that's why we're elected. So that's what I would like to see.
Well, my platform is getting back to the ABCs, accountability and transparency, better budgeting, and a commitment to children. So accountability, like having a budget that's clearly put out that everyone can understand, that we set goals, that we share those goals with our community, how far in the future before we meet those. But definitely insurance would be part of that with the budget. My commitment to children, I feel that we definitely need to keep our school resource officers and our guardians. I don't think our guardians need to take the place of our school resource officers by any means. Safety at this, our climate now is just so unpredictable. We definitely need to have our children, our staff in the safest spot that they can be. Mental health awareness, resources. We can partner with our community partners, our health department, nonprofit agencies to get those resources for our kids. Substance abuse awareness. We are living in a time where kids are being exposed, dying from fentanyl exposure, but our staff needs to be trained to recognize those signs. But we can use our partnership and collaborate with other people without dipping into our funds, because there's a lot of resources out there. And so I think that's something that we need to just really prioritize.
Overall, I would say supporting the staff, the children, the parents is my key overall. Now, specifically, yes, the discussions you've heard that you're having about the pay and the insurance, yes, that is very important, a top thing that needs to be taken care of, to be looked at, to be reviewed. The other thing that I feel strongly about is the term that a lot of people use, transparency. I want to focus on communication. Yes, making sure that parents know what's happening, know what has happened, have a website, some kind of communication way to see information, to understand what's going on. But also, I want to make sure that the parents know that they can communicate with their kids' teachers, with the principals, with the board members. I want that communication to be strong, all out through everybody, to make sure everybody understands, knows, has information, knows where to find that information. So the pay and insurance is one important thing, I feel like, and then that communication transparency is another thing that I think is very, very important, that needs to be taken care of.
Okay. One more question and then we'll go to the close. But again, I think it was mentioned in the superintendent's questions about parental rights. How do you plan, and we'll start with Ms. Smith on this one, how do you plan to engage parents in the community in the educational process and decision making?
I think that just goes back to community engagement. We are headed toward more of an educational choice. And like they spoke about earlier, it will add competition. So we need to be, to make sure that we have competitive pay, insurance, to get good qualified teachers, which we already have, awesome teachers. We just don't want to lose them and lose more. So opening up that communication, doing more things to let parents see what we're doing, the social media. So just being open. And I think it's just really important to be competitive with the way that it's heading towards school choice.
I think school choice is great because it makes us strive to be a better district. We can definitely, of course, I'm public school, pro-public school, so I want everyone to come to public school. But we need to market ourselves, like Camden said. We need to make sure that people want to. I mean, parents should have the choice. I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent. I want to be able to be the last person that chooses what's happening in my kid's life. But I want us to be the district that they choose to go to. We have things that homeschool doesn't have. We have the opportunity for kids to be dual enrolled at the high school. We have just amazing courses with our CTE programs. There's so many things. We have the arts, the theater, sports programs, which of course you can do with homeschool, but just that interaction, we need to draw our public back to our school system. We have to make sure that we are letting them know by communicating. Website friendly, just having an open communication, not just the 3 minutes for our citizens to be heard at a board meeting, but having more collaborative workshops where the parents can participate, have a open door policy within our district. I know that I always welcome people to call me, to ask me questions. I love meeting people, talking about it. You know, I might get a better idea after I talk to you. I think that's really important. And so I think that we can just be the best district that we can be by striving and just taking that challenge for school choice and saying, you know what, you may have a choice, but you're going to choose to come here because we're the best.
I don't have anything different to say, you know, yes, communication, transparency, meetings where we can talk with the parents, where they can ask questions, websites, some type of media where they can have information and know how great this district is and decide that, yes, that's what I choose because this is a great place. I think that's the way we have to get ourselves out there, if you will. We have to communicate, we have to be transparent, we have to let them know, again, all the great things that are happening, talk about budgeting, all of that stuff, so that they know they can make a great choice for this district.
Yeah, I mean, we have, in my opinion, the greatest school district anywhere in this area. I deal every day with people that are looking for a place to relocate, looking to move somewhere. I know why they pick here. Right? I know why they don't want to be in Tallahassee, they don't want to be in Jefferson County, they don't want to be in Gadsden County, they don't want to be in Franklin County, they want to be in Wakulla County, and they want to be here for the schools. We have a very great resource. Marketing is key. That is kind of goes hand in hand with what I do. I've been preaching marketing to some of the fellow folks at the district office. Y'all probably noticed more videos, more marketing material that's coming out. I do think it's going to take, parents can call us anytime, right? For 4 years, nobody's called me that I haven't returned the call or talked to them. Nobody's come to my office that I haven't talked to. Nobody stopped to talk to me at a football game that I haven't talked to. I'm happy to talk to people anywhere, anytime. But it's difficult for people to get in touch with someone all the time. Having somebody within the district that is responsible for coordinating all things district-wide, putting them on a platform that everyone can access easily and see will make things a lot easier. That is part of the plan. That is something that I would like to see happen. But beyond that, your question was, you know, how are we going to be more transparent and open? I have one Facebook page. I have one cell phone number. I have one office. They're all open. I'm an open book. Anybody can get me anytime. But I do think we have, as a district, we need to do a better job of making sure that we're putting information out there so it's easy to get. Because like a lot of these folks, I'm a parent, I struggle to get that information when I need it for my kids, right? It's not easy to find. I know that. I absolutely know that. We know that. It is something that we're gonna correct. You start.
Yes, you started. I'm sorry. Yes. So we're gonna go to the close.
Go again.
Would you like to say something?
Go again. Well, I'll just do one more.
And we'll start with Ms. Nichols. You have 2 minutes for our close.
Well, thank you all for giving up your Tuesday evening to come out.
Mike.
Oh, sorry. Trying to use my teacher voice. It has been an exciting time, just meeting so many different people in the community. When I started this idea over a year ago, I prayed really hard on it, talked to my family, they thought I was crazy. And my husband, I'm used to him being crazy and to the politics, that's not my forte at all. But I'm so glad I did it because I've met just so many people. I've learned so many different concerns that people have, and I feel strongly that I will do my very best to make a difference. I will always be a teacher. I love teaching. That is that's my identity. And so the thought of being able to give back to this district that gave me so much joy is something that I just really hope to be able to do. So I would appreciate your support, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.
First, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Snowden and Wakulla Sun for hosting this and giving us all a chance to talk and meet more people, let more people see our faces, hear our voices, and know what we're up to. I hope that I let everybody know that the June that's been here for many, many years, who's volunteered, been a volunteer parent as much as she can, doing whatever she can to support her kid and all of the kids in all the schools. I hope that I get across to you that June is going to continue to be helpful, to support this county and do whatever I can and pray every day that this place stays strong and gets stronger and it improves. And I want to be there to help as much as I can, wherever I can, make that happen. And I would appreciate, yes, your vote. And just a general comment, regardless of whoever you vote for, please vote. That's an important thing that supports Wakulla County, is that you go to vote. So I would ask for you, regardless of who you choose, please just make sure you go vote also. Thank you.
Yeah, thank everybody for coming. Thank everybody that is watching online. Thank you guys for volunteering to do this. I mean, there's no money involved here. You guys are doing this. David, appreciate what you're doing. Everybody that's here. Appreciate my family for putting up with me having to go through this. It hasn't been the most fun experience having to run for re-election. And if I'm thanking people, I'm going to thank the rest of the fellow candidates here. This has been a much more pleasurable experience than I ever expected. I think the school board should be proud of the candidates that we have running for office. The people that you see up here are good people. They have been good to each other. They have been honest to their word and have kept their word. So I'm proud that no matter how this election goes, you guys are going to end up with really good candidates, and you should be sure of that. I have experience. We're about to get a new superintendent. We're going to have some new positions filled up there. We have a lot going on right now with the budget. We have a lot that is difficult to understand. We have a lot that takes some learning. And I think it's a good time to have somebody with the experience that I bring to the table. So I'd appreciate your vote August 20th.
So I have never run for anything. Political things has never been my thing, but education is my thing. I will finish my doctorate in January. It's instructional technology and leadership. So I want to bring my education, my background, everything that I've learned throughout my years in education over a decade. So I want to bring that to the school board and help make some good decisions moving forward in the future. So thank you. I would love your vote, and thank you all for having this too and volunteering your time. Thank you.
Thank you, yes. Thank you to all of the candidates for being here tonight. It was great, enjoyed it. Thank you to David for running the soundboard, and thanks to Heather and Rachel for keeping everything straight. And thank y'all for coming out tonight. Thank you.